Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Bros Who Know. As always, irrefutably authentic. We're a different kind of podcast. I'm Dr. Jeff LaCure, and I'm here with the Dark Knight, Richard Yancey. And we got a good one for you today. And before I tell you what we're going to be doing, I got to do a shout out to our wonderful producer who does everything behind the scenes, including setting up this beautiful studio, helping us with the edit, helping us with production, Michelle Hebshe. I also want to do a shout out to, I believe, maybe our furthest viewers out in beautiful Orlando, Florida. I want a big shout out to Andrew and Summer, and I have a feeling you guys will probably post and give us a call again, and looking forward to it. Today we're going to be talking about, we're going to be doing an 8-part series. Buckle up, because this is going to help your relationship, and for some of you, it's going to end your relationship. Remember, bros who know, and we're telling you right now. And so what we're going to be talking about are the secrets to healthy romantic relationships. Today, Rich and I are going to come at you with what men and women look for in a partner, and we're going to be very specific. Next week, we're going to be talking about, this is a challenge, if Rich, I hear from people all the time, even in my office, about navigating the online dating maze successfully. Rich and I are going to help you navigate that one. The third one we're going to be talking about is how you build and create healthy communication in a relationship. And then we're going to talk about, and this could be a two-parter. This one you want to get your grandmother for and your grandfather. Get everybody around their TV or whatever you're watching on your device, because we're going to do a two-parter, Rich and I, on building and sustaining a healthy sex life. That's right. Bros Who Know is going to give you some wonderful tips to make your sex life better. And if your sex life has gone flat and dry, you come to Bros Who Knows. We'll take care of you. Then on week 6, here's where it gets heavy, folks. Rich and I are going to apologize in advance. Rich, I'm apologizing in advance. You and I are going to have to go to church for weeks after this one. We are going to do a two-parter on why men and women cheat. That's right, why men and women cheat. And ironically, for the most part, men and women cheat for very different reasons. And it's going to be brought to you, infidelity brought to you by Bros Who Know. And then finally, we hope you don't end up here. But if you do, Rich and I, as part of Bros Who Know, are going to help you bounce back after a breakup or after divorce. And so please stay tuned. I promise you, you're going to learn things that you've never known before, and you're going to have some understanding, a deeper understanding about it. So, Rich, I'm going to jump off on this one, and then I'm going to give you the floor. Here's what I want to sort of set in motion. Be curious what your thoughts are. Here's what the science says about what men and women look for in a partner. We have, as men and women, we have one thing in common. Then I'm going to give you part B, and then it's all yours. Have some fun with it. Men and women first seek out a partner with our eyes, right? We look at somebody and we say to ourselves, hey, she's kind of cute. Or, hey, that dude's kind of handsome. Or, hey, I love that hair color. Or, hey, I love their eyes. It is the visual that attracts us to the person. It's their emotional confidence and healthiness that keeps us there without fail. And I'll give you this just as a little nugget, as a jumping off place. And to my sisters out there, please, please, please pay careful attention to this one, because we're going to talk a lot about it. Men, we fall in love with our eyes. We fall in love with what we see. And women, I'm not saying women don't fall in love with their eyes, but women fall in love with their ears and their heart. Because women will say, and I believe them, and all the research suggests this, that what keeps a woman with a man is that he's kind, that he's gentle, that he's strong, that he's courageous, and he lives his life through honesty and truth. Rich, what's your thoughts?
You got me on that one. I think that you're absolutely right about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I think that's what gets men in trouble, though, with our eyes. I'm telling you, we should look for more substance, obviously, but that's the case. I'm telling you, I can't even argue with that. I have nothing to say. I'm telling you,
Wait.
You're right on point on that.
To our viewers, write this date down. The Darth Vader of podcast is speechless.
I'm speechless on that.
I love it. So, Rich,
I'll
highlight this. I'll highlight this as kind of a thing. And as you could tell, Rich and I are both big fans of relationships, of healthy relationships. And Rich and I have had our healthy relationships. We've been in healthy relationships.
Right.
We value healthy relationships. Here's really when, let me highlight specifically men, then we'll talk about women. And I'm going to share this with all our female viewers out there, Rich. Other than your beauty, which is individual. See, I have a particular look, and I'm not sharing on camera what my particular look is. But if you ask my 4 children, if I were single and I started dating somebody, they would be able to predict the color of her hair. I have a particular color of hair. I don't ever waver. That's my thing. But back to the point. So, as I talked about, men, we fall in love with our eyes. We know what we look for visually. But what keeps us in the relationship, what most men report on the surveys of long-term relationships that keep him there, we find confident women overwhelmingly sexy. Overwhelmingly sexy. We love a woman that when she walks into the room, we're not talking cocky, we're not talking conceited, but when she walks into the room, she owns that room. And when she walks into the room, there's a style and there's a grace. And what turns us off, again, welcome to relationships by the bros who knows brothers right here. What turns off the most men when it comes to dating long term in our female partners is if you're overly clingy, if you need constant reassurance, right? And we're going to lie. We're going to lie. If you ask us, does my butt look big in those pants? We're going to lie. Because if we tell you, yes, your butt looks big in the pants, you respond, what do you mean? I like these pants. I thought these pants looked good. We can't win, so we've learned to lie.
Yep. Again, you're absolutely right. So, so men, single men, we're tough because,
Real tough.
We have to go if a woman's attractive or not. Okay, that being said, when we get into the relationship, what's going to keep us there is
confidence.
Well, yeah, it's confidence, and confidence is kind of sexy too. When you
isn't it so sexy?
It is, but
oh my God.
The thing is that for us, the women have to know what they want, not what they think they want.
That's
they have
right.
to know what they want. So
gotta know.
So from my experience, I'm just gonna go by my experience.
Do
right? it. I can only do that because I want to talk for other men. Women tell me. When I have a conversation with them, they tell me how great they are. They tell me this and that and the other. And I always say this. I say, listen, if you are who you say you are, I'm going to marry you. 9 times out of 10, they're not who they say you are. So, it depends on, so women have to figure out what they truly want. So, I know a lot of women that say that, they want the white picket fence, they want the house and the husband and this and that and the other. And once they get in that, they feel like they're trapped. So I don't know. So we got to figure that out.
Well, I tell you, and without any apology, looks matter. And I'm going to share something later that I hope people will take to heart, both men and women. But let's just, Rich is highlighting, it's got to be more than looks. See, looks brings us in. Looks is like the appetizer, right? That says, hey, this place has some nice appetizers. I want to see what the menu is now. But see, this is where a lot of people fails the menu. Let me give you a great example how looks alone don't make for a strong relationship. Look at Tom Brady and Giselle. 2 beautiful, strikingly beautiful people.
They've been together for a while, though.
And their relationship still ended.
Okay, how long were they together for?
I'm not sure. It's got to be over 10 years.
Okay, but
so they were together a long time. 2 beautiful people. But what they found is they were no longer compatible. When we talk deeper next week about compatibility, we're going to give you some tips that help you. But here's what I want to highlight. And this happens all the time. Maybe one of the best pieces of dating advice I could give anybody, and I do this with the couples that I work with in my private practice, Rich. I find out that on Friday and Saturday nights, you know what a lot of couples are doing?
What?
Going to Home Depot, not a sponsor. Going to Walmart, never want you as a
Why
sponsor.
is that a bad thing? You think?
Absolutely, because you know what? When they first started dating, what did they do?
They went out, but that's still going out. I think.
Yeah, but they went out. They
Right.
celebrated each other. They took time to look their best. And what starts to happen, and this is to the ladies, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to be happy with me, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Even though we need more than just what we believe is beautiful, and again, Rich has his ideas, I have my ideas, people out there have their ideas. Culturally, there's different ideas. Even though beauty is very important, the most important thing is sense of humor, confidence, and so on. However, keep making the mistake. Keep making the mistake. And I'm going to say this to the women and to the men viewers out there right now. Ladies, go to bed wearing a Patriots hoodie, real baggy pajama bottoms, and your Ugg slippers, and see how physically attracted we are to you. And by the way, it runs both ways. Guys, go to bed wearing your black work socks and ask your partner how attracted she is to you. And by the way, guys, if you want to guarantee that a woman never wants to be physically intimate with you, ever, is buy white tighty-whities underwear. And there's not a human being, there's not one woman who looks at their partner and says, come here, big dog, with those beautiful tighty-whities, and come on over.
Well, not only that, but you brought up a good point with the tighty whities. That's why I always wear black. I'm telling, listen, you don't want the tighty whities to have any kind of stains on them. So anyway, So I want to bring up what you said about Giselle and Tom Brady. I think in a vacuum, if their relationship was in a vacuum, I think they would have lasted forever. I think the outside world pushing on them destroy them. That's one. That's my opinion. Another opinion I have with, like I said, we talked about this in the last part. You both have to be emotionally ready and qualified to be in a relationship. We talked about that already. That being said, women, I think what attracts guys, what keep a guy interested in a woman is if you women have to dote on your men. You have to, tell your man that you love him every so often. Rub his shoulder, every so often. Sit by him when he's watching, something that you don't like.
Yes.
And vice versa with men. Like
That's
men,
right.
so, and a lot of men do this. So if if you're that man that's going out there and you're taking care of your lawn all day and you're fixing your car all day and you're like, oh yeah, my woman's going to love me because I'm a manly man. No. She's alone. While you're doing that, she's sitting in the kitchen being alone or talking to a girlfriend. That's why I said, even Home Depot, spend time with each other. That's the most important thing. You have to spend time with each other. You guys are friends first, and then the relationship follows afterwards. If you guys are not having sex, then that's a problem too. I'm telling you, it should be on a regular basis. I would think.
Yeah, we're gonna dive. We're diving deep into that one,
Right.
and we're gonna blow you away with some of the information. See, here's the thing about Rich talks about the time is so important. And one of the reasons, let me highlight sort of the laws of love. I share this with my students all the time. The single most important factor in finding true love is proximity. And what I mean by that is we find our partner where we are. So if all our viewers all of a sudden took a field trip to Italy and stayed there for 5 years, they're probably going to meet an Italian that they fall in love with.
Right.
If all our viewers from Massachusetts decide to move out to Texas or to California, don't move to California, but if they do, they're probably going to fall in love with someone from California.
That's terrible news, by the way.
What's that?
That's terrible news, by the way.
Oh, about proximity?
Yes.
Well, it's.
I'm gonna tell you why.
It's the truth about.
Okay, but I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a relationship with someone and they go to work 60 hours a week,
Yes.
and you're mowing your lawn all the time, then what are you saying, Jeff?
Well, I'm
Are they
saying.
gonna fall in love with someone in their proximity?
Oh, well, when we get into infidelity, Rich, we
Right.
are going to talk about some of the warning signs that happen. So let me highlight this as far as, kind of bouncing back to some of the specifics. Women highlight over and over again, Rich, that a man with a sense of humor is very sexy for them. A man that can make them laugh is incredibly attractive. A man that can walk into a room and own the room is very attractive to women. And I also want to highlight, and this is fact, this isn't opinion, this is fact. I'm looking at the camera for this one. Women are drawn to very successful men. And again, this isn't necessarily research as much as it's just fact. Look at every successful man in Hollywood. Look at every successful man who's a professional athlete, a rock star, a performer, and look at their partner. And what you don't see with that successful man is an unattractive woman. What you do see, however, is sometimes unattractive athletes, unattractive actors, unattractive rock stars have beautiful partners. And what it highlights is that women are even more drawn than they are to looks. They're more drawn to the success and the stature of that man.
Okay, so what about the reciprocal of that?
As far as what men are attracted to?
Yeah, men attracted to more successful women.
Yes, but here's the thing, and to my sisters out there, you know it because you live it. Males are threatened by successful women.
You think so?
Males. Remember, males, low self-esteem, insecure. Men, true men, love a successful woman, want a woman who's successful. But remember, you talked about maybe 2% of the population are actual men, right? Which your numbers aren't that far off.
Right.
So men look for a woman, right, who is going to be a partner, who is going to be an equal. And again, I want to say it, one of the biggest turnoffs for men is this constant insecurity. How do I look? How do I look? Do I look too big? Do I look too skinny? We want you to know how you look. We want you to own it. And if I could highlight something Rich said, Rich says we want a woman, sometimes will rub our back, rub our shoulder. We also want a woman from time to time tells us we look good. Right? They want every now and then we like to hear from our partners.
Right.
Wow, you clean up nice. Remember you talked about mowing the lawn?
Mowing the lawn, yeah.
We'd like to hear every now and then after we get in and take a shower and take them out on date night that we look good too.
Yeah, so I think, but the mowing the lawn aspect is, like I said, a lot of men, I don't think they know what the woman wants. A woman wants to spend time with you. They don't want you mowing the lawn. I'm talking mowing the lawn once, but going out there and always pulling out the weeds and making it your first priority. So the thing is, women want to be your first priority. They want you. They want to be the first priority for you. So if your lawn becomes more of a priority than your woman, then there's going to be a problem. If your car becomes more of a priority, then you're going to have a problem.
So
your women have to be first priority. But then again, for women, men have to be your man has to be your first
Absolutely.
priority. You have to. Okay, so let me tell you something. A sexy couple would be this: Bonnie and Clyde. See, that Bonnie and Clyde, the reason why they're so profound is because they stuck together. They did things together, and they did things as a team, okay? And as soon as you have a relationship and you're not a team anymore, you become you, and she becomes her, and you're doing your own thing.
It's over.
It's not gonna last. Because at that point, you got a roommate. So
yeah.
you just signed up for a roommate. She's downstairs, you're upstairs, you're fiddling with her car, she's talking to her girlfriend, talking bad about you, right? And things will fall apart, later on.
Well, I'm hoping people. Rich brings up a very interesting tip. When the spring and summer rolls around, Rich, I want people driving around their neighborhoods, and if anybody has a well-manicured lawn, they probably don't have a good relationship.
That's how it is. The best-looking homes, they're the broken ones inside.
That's right.
So if you're not paying attention to this, you're paying attention to something else. That's just how you can't pay attention to everything. So,
yes.
Your woman, I got to tell you, so, if you're in a relationship, your woman has to be a priority.
Yes.
If you're in a relationship with your woman, your man has to be a priority.
In order for it to succeed, you have to prioritize each other. You have to.
And again, and this is what I said in the other podcasts, it cannot be about you. So you can't go in a relationship saying, this is what I want.
This is when
you come in a relationship, you're like, listen, what can I do for you? And if the other person looks at you and say, your partner says, what can I do for you? You're going to have a tremendous relationship. Now, I can't tell you how long it is because right when you get into a relationship, you got the whole world pushing on you. The better your relationship is, your girlfriend, your brother, your sister, everyone wants it to break up. So, that's another thing.
We'll tell them to take a hike. Here's a tip, Rich, that I love to share with women, and I think this is foolproof. I don't think there's ever a time that this example doesn't work. So to the ladies out there, if you want to know if you got a great man, not just a good man, a great man, and Richie and I have already defined what a great man is, who we are. See how he treats his mom.
That's true.
See how he treats his mom. And if he swears, disrespects, disowns, what do you think he's going to do with you?
Well, that's the same thing for a woman. See how she treats her dad.
Absolutely.
It's the same. That's why it says we talk about men, but we're really talking about men and women. I'm talking about, when we talk about emotions, a man and women have to understand their emotions. When we talk about relationship, you both gotta be concerned about each other. So yeah, we're saying the same thing, but we mean both men and women.
Right,
At the end of
right.
the day.
It
We just
really
mean
is.
human beings. Just be a good human being that knows who you are. Because
Right.
if you don't know who you are, what are you offering?
That's right.
You have to know who you are. You know what I mean?
How can your partner know who you are if you don't know who you are?
Exactly. And another thing, I tell you something. If you want, so a couple of things. You want a couple to be happy. This is what you do. Mind your business. Don't worry about what your neighbors are doing. Don't worry what your friends are doing.
Very healthy.
Mind your business.
Very healthy.
Right now, if you just listen to me, that's a gift. Mind your business today. You're gonna be so much happier because you're already talking about somebody. So mind your business as a couple. Another thing you guys have to do as a couple: don't play games.
Mm-hmm.
Because the game is going to be over pretty soon. That's the game, all right? The game's going to be over, and both of you guys are going to split up. If you have a problem, don't do tit for tat. Just say it. Say, listen, this is what it is.
Put it out there.
Put it out there, and it has to be addressed. That's it.
Right.
But don't play games. That's
One of the biggest turnoffs, Rich, for men and women
you can't play games.
are dating game players.
Oh yeah.
Right? Again, if you keep dating game players, you know why game players exist? Because you date them.
Right.
If you want to we talked about the extinction of men, which is sad. You want to eliminate game players, stop dating them.
Right.
Look into the mirror after you watch this and like it and subscribe and give us some feedback.
Right.
Go look into the mirror and ask yourself, do I have a history of dating game players? If I do, it's my fault.
Right.
Take the ownership of. Here's one of the little things, too, that I find that women in particular say, actually, you know what? I'm going to share this. Here's an important thing that I'm going to share with the ladies to understand us as men. If you want to guarantee, or 99.9%, that we're not going to date you long term, ladies, have sex with us on the first date. Seriously. We're pumped. We're thrilled. But you know what? Men have two standards. There's the women we have sex with, and there's the women we bring home to mom. And we don't bring home the woman we had sex with on the first date to mom. And Steve Harvey wrote a wonderful book about that.
Right.
That said, if you want to make sure that you got yourself a real man, hold out a little bit sexually. Now look, I don't want all the guys responding, Rich. I'm not talking about several dates, but let me close this loop. What I'm saying to you out there, ladies, is if you want to almost guarantee that he ain't going to see you again or he's not going to be there long term, have sex with him early. And you want to know why? I'll tell you why. Here's the psychology behind it. Because if we get a lot of action on the first date, we're happy. We drive home and we're thrilled. We tell our buddies, that's what we do. We tell our buddies, yeah, the date went well. We got a lot of action. And then we wonder, hey, who else does she do this with?
Now that's the real reason right there.
That's where
the reason.
So ladies,
Yeah.
hold tight. But I got to highlight this. You do need to have a kiss goodnight. Why? Because you got to know, is there some physical chemistry there?
Right.
Right? And the kiss goodnight is key. I'm not saying you have to if the comfort's not there.
Right.
But don't shake a dude's hand. Thank you. That was a wonderful date.
Right.
Don't give him a kiss on the cheek like you do to your first grader named Little Jimmy Harold Jones and go, have a good day at school.
Right.
Give him a kiss goodnight and let's find out if there's a little chemistry. Let's find out if he goes, how about that?
Right.
Rich, what you got?
Yeah. So the sex on the first date, I think it's more towards this. It's like if she has a lot of friends, okay, and she gives you sex on the first date, you're gonna think, well, did she sleep with her other friends? And then it just once you put a rat in your head, it just keeps on manifesting and it gets worse and worse.
Don't do it.
So it's not. But see, the thing is, if that's who you are, though, we're not. So I'm sure Jeff is not. If that's who you are, if you want to have sex with the man on the first date, and that's who you are, and that's what you do, then do it.
Yeah, enjoy
Okay, but
being
just
alone.
don't have expectations.
Enjoy being alone.
See, men, and I only, I don't like talk about other men because I don't really speak to a lot of men. I can only talk to you about me.
Yeah.
Okay, for me, I always want something that no one else can have. I mean, so
Mm-hmm.
that gives it value to me. So if you're with a lot of different men,
Right. Here's can I
then
highlight that because Rich is nailing it.
well,
When he talks
I'm
about himself, he's actually
I don't want to talk about other men. 'Cause
right.
I don't know.
He's hitting the science.
Yeah.
And here's what we know about men when men are surveyed.
Right.
We want to date a woman who is very sexually experienced, but we don't want to marry her.
Right. Okay.
And that's what I'm saying to you, to our ladies out there viewing us, is
Right.
understand that if the sex happens early, like the first date, you are setting and sending a message that he is like, And so for men, one of the things we look for, and I know this is true for women, we look for a partner that we can respect. And when you wake up at 5:30 in the morning and you look next to you and you don't even know that person's last name, did you have fun? I hope so. But do you respect them? I'm not sure. And most of the research suggests that we don't respect it if the sex is soon, which is why when we talk about sex in a healthy relationship, we're gonna blow the doors
Right.
off some myths.
So yeah. So again. So yeah. So with women, you have to understand as far as men are concerned, we want to feel special. All right. And again, that happens when we're with someone that has respect for themselves,
Mhm.
right? And you want to be with a man that has respect for himself. Now, look, I'm not perfect. I'm not saying that Jeff's perfect. I don't know his sexual background, but I'm not perfect. But I do have
It's a great question.
Yeah, I know. I do have standards, and I want a woman that I'm with to have standards. But like I said, I'm not. If you want to have sex on the first date, if that's who you are, you might find a guy that doesn't, that's okay with them. But for me, that's just not my thing.
Yeah, long term it doesn't.
I'm not even trying to have sex on the first date, though.
Man, it complicates things.
Well, I don't even. I got to
just-
be honest with you.
it just-
I'm not even trying to because that doesn't. I'm telling you, that doesn't do anything for me.
It just
I'm telling you,
complicates
'cause I know.
things.
I'm telling because I can have sex.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, to try to have
That's
sex on the
actually
first,
easy, isn't it? It's
Well, especially
easy
nowadays.
It's easy to find people to have
Nowadays.
sex with. It's much harder to find people to fall in love with.
Let me tell you something. It's like I said. It's one of those we talked about in the first podcast. You have to be qualified to be in a relationship, and then after that, going forward, it has to be about the other person. Like when I'm with her, it's about her. When she's with me, it's about me.
Right.
If you're both in it for yourself, it's not going to work. Or if you both come in with baggages, no matter how big or large the baggage, it's not going to work.
Not going to work.
So you have, there's so many things going against the relationship, okay, that you first got to go into saying, listen, the chance of us surviving 10 years is slim.
Very
Okay,
slim.
but I love you, you love me. Let's figure it out.
And let's enjoy the day.
Enjoy the day and let's figure it out.
Let's
okay?
enjoy the day.
But,
And now, let me highlight this too as we're getting ready to wind down. What men and women are looking for, we try to give you some tips and suggestions. I'm going to tell you right now as a shrink, and I agree with Rich. If it's just two adults want to fool around on the very first date, feel free, more power to you. I'm just telling you it's not going to last. But don't go the other way. Don't put some artificial timeline. Well, we got to go on 12 dates. This isn't the 40-year-old virgin movie, right? Don't put a date on the calendar. Let it kind of happen organically. And here's what, and I'm jumping ahead onto our sexual one, but here's what men and women look for. For women, typically, to have sex with a man, they need to feel that they can trust that guy, right? They feel like they need to trust him. I don't know who you trust after one date. I don't know who you trust. So I guess the big takeaway is make out a whole bunch on the first date, ask them out for a second date, and then see where it goes from there.
Yeah, but society's pushing that having. I think society's pushing having sex on the first date.
Oh my God, yes.
But
And
that's
you know
what I'm saying. So that
it's made me a wealthy man.
So that's what I'm saying. So
Keep pushing it.
So there's a lot of things going on, a lot of dynamics going on in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
One, you have the two individuals, and then you have the outside forces pushing in.
Yes.
I'm talking about, and work's not conducive for relationships. I'm gonna say that right now on TV. Work's not conducive for relationships, especially if you have a job that you travel. That's not conducive for relationships.
Great point.
So
Great
you have
point.
you have a lot of variables that that doesn't make relationship. It's not conducive for relationships.
That's right.
So when you find that person, you got work. You have work
Gotta
ahead of you.
prioritize it, right?
You have work ahead of you because you have there's a lot of things push you guys apart than keeping you
Right.
guys together.
Right.
And the better you guys look, and the better you guys get along, and the best relationship you have, the outside world's gonna say, "Listen, I don't have that." And they're gonna want to destroy that too. So
Yeah,
you have to you got to be very strong.
You
so,
do.
And
You
you got to
do.
be qualified. You got to be
I
qualified.
love that. Hey, as we wrap up, keep in mind, both men and women look for honest partners. Both men and women look for confident partners. Both men and women look for attractive partners. Something we didn't talk about today that I'll close it with. Both men and women look for people that they can be proud of, that they can walk into a room and say, this is my partner, my boyfriend, my girlfriend,
So when are we gonna do that one?
my husband, and my wife. What's
We
that?
gotta do a podcast on that.
Oh, we certainly are.
All right.
Oh, we're definitely going to. And they look for people that are confident yet humble. They look for people that are strong but that live graciously in the world of humility. Hey, on behalf of the Dark Knight, this is Dr. Jeff LaCure. We wish you great success in your relationships. We wish you hope, and we hope you find your eternal peace. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.